Hi, welcome to Potter's Ranch. My name is Tony Vornber. I'm glad you could join us today. We're going to be showing you Paracord Bracelet today and how to make those. It's one of the things that we do here at Potter's Ranch, and it was one of the things we wanted to share with you that you can do at home. We're going to be using simple paracord. This is 550 paracord, but you can use any. We like the 550 paracord. It's a good diameter, good use as far as a survival bracelet for multiple uses and things if you need it. We do working with small buckles. There's many different types of buckles that you can use. This is a smaller one. We like the 1/2 inch, but there are different ones. There are specialty bracelets that you can do. This is a really neat one. This is actually a whistle and a fire starter, which is really neat. But there are all sorts of different buckles that you can use. A lot of tutorials on YouTube other than this one that you can look for different knots. We're going to be doing a simple Cobra Nut. One of the other things you can use your paracord for is to take and attach things to carry it. This is a monkey fist that was done, just kind of a bolo for self-defense that someone actually did this one for me. It's a really neat idea that you can do. There are a lot of different things you can do with paracord that are very fun that you can do at home. And that was our goal. So we're going to do a simple child's length bracelet. So with that, we're going to do about 8 foot of cord. So depending on your wrist, and I will show you that as we go, the measurements you want for a smaller child, you'd want about 8 feet up to a nice, healthy, manly adult arm, you'd want it close to 10 feet of cord. And we're going to do a simple 8 foot today. So the first thing I like to do, and you do not have to, is to work with multiple colors. So I like to do 2 different colors. That helps in learning to do the knots. That's what we're going to do today. You do not have to do that once you get used to it. This is what a solid color on both sides would look like. And it's just as nice, and it's really a good look. Again, it depends on what you want. There's multiple colors that you can pick from, bright colors. There are glow-in-the-dark colors, different things. So again, simple things you can do at home that you'll need to do this. You'll need a ruler to measure your paracord, obviously. Just a simple pair of scissors. Any household scissors, pocket knife will do. A lighter to light the ends. We'll show you how to fuse those as well. It's very important just so it doesn't just ravel out on you as you go. So the first thing that I did is I went ahead and pre-cut 2 cords. So we're going to use a yellow and a green today. And so I've already cut these. Are 4 foot lengths. And the first thing I want to do is to fuse these. It's nice if you kind of pull this down. You don't want too much of the inner white strands to be showing. And again, one of the things that these are, another use for these is starting fires. So you'll see as we light this how well it lights up. I'm using a wooden block on the table so that we don't burn the table as well. So just as kind of safety cautions, you make a good judgment when you're working with children as to what age you feel comfortable with them working with fire. These can be done, pre-done ahead for the kids so they don't have to work with fire. So I wouldn't recommend that for any young children. And so we're going to do both sides. Actually, I'm going to do one side because I want to fuse these together. Sorry about that. I'm just going to trim this off. You can see how they tend to come out, so we don't want to have those loose strands. So I want to get just as little because the nylon fuses a lot better than the cord inside, the center cords. We're just going to do that, just kind of keeping it together. And I'll take my other 2 pieces. This is the tricky part when we're going to fuse these together, again, because I want to do a 2 color. The first thing we have to do is fuse it together because you're going to be working with one line together. We're going to be putting it around the buckle. So we're going to show you this process. I'm going to fuse both of these. It's very important to light them together so that you're got them. Both are hot when you place them together, and you want to pull them as close to possible. There are different tools and different techniques you can use. This is just a very simple, and this is very, very hot, and it's very important that they fuse together well so that when you pull on them, they don't come apart. Our next step, we're going to use the 1/2-inch buckle, as I said. So we're going to go up through the buckle on one side. Really doesn't matter which side you start with, just as long as you come up and then through there, and you want that to be as even as possible. So then when you see we have one on each side, I'm going to take it around, and you want to make sure that you stay on the same side when you go through the other side of your buckle. So you have the yellow and the green on the identical side. That's one thing you want to watch for, so that it doesn't twist. So if you take it like this, you can see both the yellows on one side and the greens on the other. I'm going to pull this up. This is the point we measure your wrist. So again, like I said, everybody has a different wrist size, and so we want to make sure that. Did it flip on me? It did. Tried to flip on me. There we go. So you want to have it like this. You want to take about 2 finger width under the buckle, and then unloosen. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Here, it's loosely fitted, so we're going to start just like this. Now at this point, we're going to do our first knot, and this one is probably the toughest, because this is what's going to anchor your bracelet, so that it'll keep the size that you initially wanted. So we're just doing that Cobra Nut. I'm going to show you again, but I want to make sure we anchor this in. So basically, when you look at it, it looks like this. So you've got the one cord over, under this side, back through the back, and then back into this loop. And we're going to tighten that up. It just gets cinched up. Just like that. Now this is going to be probably a little tight on me with it being a smaller, well, we've measured it, so it shouldn't, but, and hopefully then we have enough cord, because I wanted to do it. So now we're going to go with the square knot. So always remember, as we go through this, that's why we go with the 2 cords, 2 colors, is the same color is going to go in front every time. So we're going to take this one up through. So you're going behind this one. This one's going to come back behind there, through this loop, and then tighten. And we just kind of cinch it up. So again, we're going to go back with the same color, and this is going to be a repetitive motion as we go through. Now, as I do this, often we always try to share a Bible verse as we share with our guests when we teach this. And I picked out 2 of my favorites that I use for this activity. The first one, the very well-known verse from Ecclesiastes 4:9 through 12. It says, as I do this as I talk, there 2 are better than 1, because they are good reward for their toils. For if they fall, one will lift his fellow. But woe to him who is alone, for when they fall, they have not another to lift them up. Again, the kind of the idea of the cords, and it says again, if 2 lie together, they can keep themselves warm. But if they're one, who can keep themselves warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him, and a 3-fold cord is not quickly broken. Kind of the idea here. This is why we're weaving the bracelet. This gives it strength. But then there's another Bible verse that I'd like to share that's kind of the opposite idea, and that was from Isaiah 5:8. And Isaiah warns, he says, woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as if it were a cart of ropes. Now the Chaldean paraphrase to that is, woe to those who begin a sin by little and little, drawing sin by a cord of vanity. Those sins grow and increase until they are strong and are like a cart rope. And again, working with the rope, this is the idea of the cart, the single strands becoming a cart rope. And you see how tight. And as I'm doing these knots, I'm cinching this down. And kind of think of that with Isaiah in mind, is that each of our sins of vanity he uses, those simple sins, those things that we are daily things that we forget about. The vanity being a big part of that. Pride is another. How often we do things out of pride, and we do them over and over again, just like I'm weaving these knots over and over again, and it eventually becomes very, very tough. The idea that the sin is just the same way. If you continually sin, especially if you're continually doing the same sin, that sin becomes harder and harder to break. Getting into the mindset that you really have to break that sin cycle. And so if you're repeating sins over and over again, it happens just like with the paracord. This bracelet is getting tighter and tighter as we go along, and this is building on itself. So those are really neat Bible verses that kind of teach, again, as you're doing a project with your hands, it becomes easier to remember when you're doing something, when you're teaching as well. And there's small teachable moments that you can take with your children. This is a great visual thing when you do this project, and they have that bracelet to constantly remind them of when they do things, how things build up, both in a positive way, as in helping each other, standing together, or a negative way when you're trying to get to something or get to a sin that you're wanting to break. And I think we've really worked out this distance really good. Maybe that means I have a little bit smaller wrist, because we are going to have, with the 8 feet, a perfect amount of cord for this. So, and I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm glad it did as we go through. Now, there are different ways to finish off the bracelet. Just a little twist on me. At the end. So you can buy paracord needles and weave them back in. You don't need to. I will show you. We are going to fuse this just at the end as we go. So I'm going to loosen this up just. And it's very important, again, as we're kind of cinching those up, to kind of fill in, and I'm going to loosen this just a little. I did take it just a little tight, because you want to have a little bit of flexibility as I was talking through that and not watching her strength. So it gets I did it. You see how you do it? When you got to watch, and even I, sometimes I forget those techniques. Forget those choices. Again, why we stay under our Bible, so we remind us of those sins, and the same thing with reminding of which side we're on. But that was perfect. Look at that. So I'm going to take our scissors. We're going to cut just above the point here where we stopped. You don't want to go too short, but you don't want it too long and sticking out when you're not weaving them in. We're going to take, that's why I was weaved. There we go. I'm going to take your lighter, and we're going to light that end up. I'm going to wait to get just a little bit more here. And we're going to just press it this way so that it presses out. Hopefully it stays There we go. Piece here. And if all went well, we have a completed paracord bracelet. We call them paracord bracelets or survival bracelets because the cords can be used for many things. Again, you can Google it and search on the website, but there are multiple things that you can use these cords, from fishing line to building tents. I'm going to open one here just real quick for you, this little scrap piece, just to kind of show you, if I can get this to open, these cords. So when you can pull these cords out again, can be used for those who are experienced that do it as sutures even, but they can be fire starters. You can use them for fishing line. You can make fishing lures. You can use the full paracords to hang things from the trees, keep the animals out of it when you're camping, setting up your tent, making hammocks, making emergency slings, emergency litters to carry someone out if you need to. So a lot of different things. That's why they call them survival bracelets. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and hope you enjoy the rest of our videos. God bless.